Hello everyone and welcome back to the third week of This Week in Games. So we have a bunch of exciting stuff to talk about. We're going to start with new studios that are opening, and this one in particular, Yellow Brick Games, is something that could potentially spell bad news for Ubisoft, but is also just exciting to see, and it's always cool to see what these kind of studios will do in the future. So, BioWare and Ubisoft veterans create Yellow Brick Games. So Yellow Brick Games is a studio that is now starting in Quebec City, or Quebec. You are from there. And they have a bunch of interesting people here. And I'll go over them real quick here, which to hopefully explain why this is such a big deal for this studio opening. So, we have Frederic Saint Laurent, who is a game director at Ubisoft Quebec. I'll try and say Quebec and not Quebec. We have Mike Laidlaw, who was previously creative director at Quebec. And before that, he was creative director for the Dragon Age franchise, who I think that transitioned into Ubisoft. We have Jeff Skalski, senior producer at Ubisoft Quebec, and Thomas Giroux, who worked as an art director for marketing at Ubisoft before founding his own advertising agency, or marketing agency. So, it's really cool to see new developers making new studios, especially at a time like this, right? There's a lot of uncertainty in just the economy in general and stuff like that, and this is in Canada, who may have handled it better than the United States, but it is still exciting nevertheless to see more companies starting. And this is a very interesting transition here, because 3 out of these 4 team members were high-level people at Ubisoft before immediately transitioning over. And one of them, so according to Frederic Saint Laurent, he was previously a game director at Ubisoft Quebec, and according to his LinkedIn, he was working on an unannounced amazing project or something along those lines. And it went from unannounced project to starting this new company. So that could spell a few things for Ubisoft Quebec. That could mean that, a game got canceled, right? Even though he had that on his LinkedIn for the past 4 or 5 years, it's possible that a 5-year-long project was just canned. It's possible that the project is going to be a failure and it's either going to be canned or no one's going to be happy with it. And a bunch of upper level people decided to leave. It could be because maybe that studio is closing down. So they're typically it's never a good sign if multiple really high level people leave your studio, right? So I am wondering what's going to be happening there. And that's something to at least keep an eye out what comes out of that studio. Because I think the last thing that company did was Assassin's Creed, not Valhalla, but 2018. I don't remember which one that was. But with no huge release coming from that studio in a while, or no announcements coming from that studio in a while, and then a bunch of high-level people leaving, could just spell not good news for the studio. So, according to this GameIndustry.biz article, the new studio promised to further cement the region's leading role in the global entertainment scene with its first original project, which hasn't been revealed but already has a team of 15 employees. So they're already building out 15 employees is pretty standard for an early pre-production thing, for an early pre-production phase of development. This management team definitely has what it takes to scale up to AAA size, right? So these guys could make some new AAA quality stuff, especially because, and according to this team, their website, their mission, they're going to be giving an emphasis to work-life balance, which, we're kind of in a phase in the game industry where work-life balance is becoming more and more and more of a big thing. And I just have to assume that new studios that want to focus on this are actually going to be pulling through and going to be doing some crazy work-life balance things, like not working more than 40 hours a week. That's crazy, right? That's absolutely crazy. Yellow Brick Games said it wants to prioritize a craftsmanship approach with its projects, moving away from the type of AAA structure they all have experience with. Emphasize on back to the basics approach centered on the pleasure of crafting new game experiences in a flexible and more personal environment that an independent studio can provide, right? So they want to avoid the heavy oversight that executives can have on a games project, right? They want to avoid having shareholders be the one that drive the game, right? Because when shareholders are the ones driving a game, you get innovations in the way that games can make money off of players, not innovations in ways that games can break new ground in design or anything like that. So I heavily look forward to seeing what this studio does. and what they make, because it sounds like that anything that they make is going to have a bunch of charm. It's going to be great. It's going to be the game first, and I can't wait to see it.